Welcome to All Saints Church, to Messy Church, a different way of doing Messy Church because sadly we can't meet up at the moment. And we're going to start Messy Church with our story. I've got a story basket here and some figures. We've got a baby. We've got a mother. We've got a cow. And a sheep. And lots more figures. So I wonder what God will say to us in our story today. This is the baby Jesus reaching out to give us a hug. And this is the Mother Mary. Here we have Joseph, the father figure. This is the donkey who carried Mary to Bethlehem when she and Joseph went to be counted by the Roman soldiers. Mary was about to have a baby, and it's hard to walk a long way when you're about to have a baby. But it's also hard to ride a donkey when you're about to have a baby. So sometimes Mary got down and walked. This is the cow who was in the stable when the baby was born. She was surprised to see a baby in her feed box, the manger, instead of her breakfast. This is a shepherd, the shepherd who saw the great light in the sky. There were a lot more shepherds, but we'll put this one down to help us with our story. This is a sheep who was with the shepherd. There were a lot more sheep as well. When they saw the great light in the sky, the shepherds were scared. I would be too. Then they heard singing, and that frightened them as well, until they heard the words. The angels sang, they come to bring peace to everyone on earth. The shepherds were to go, run, hurry to Bethlehem and see the child who'd been born, who would change everything. These are the kings, the wise men. In their language, they were called magi. And that's where we get our word magic from. They knew all sorts about everything, but what they knew most about was the stars in the sky. They knew where every star was supposed to be at different times of the year. They could tell time by the stars. One night, when they were studying the sky, they saw a wild star. It wasn't on any of their maps of the sky, and it moved. They were curious, so they followed it, and it led them all the way to Bethlehem and the baby. They brought with them gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. This is the baby Jesus reaching out to give you a hug. This baby grew up to be a man, and he did so many amazing things and said so many wonderful things. But then he died on the cross, and that was sad. But it was also very wonderful in an Easter sort of way, because now he's not back there then, in this place or that place. He's everywhere, in all places and all times, reaching out to give the whole world a great big hug. Now I wonder what part of this story you like best. And I wonder what part of the story you thought was the most important. I like it that Jesus is reaching out to give us a hug. Things are very strange and different at the moment, and we've not been able to see family and friends who don't live in our houses and give them a hug. So it's lovely to know that Jesus is always there for us, reaching out and giving us a hug. During the next few months, we'll be hearing more stories of some of the amazing and wonderful things that Jesus did. But now it's time to go over to our Bible bookcase.
Thanks for that story, Margaret. That's really good. At Messy Church, all the stories we tell come from the Bible, which is a very special storybook or book of stories about God and about Jesus. We love the Bible and all the amazing stories in it. But the Bible isn't just a book. It's a whole library of books, which is why we have our Bible bookcase. There are books and I hear about history, there are storybooks, there are letters, there are songs. There's all sorts of different kinds of stories in our Bibles. And each one of them tells us about God and how much he loves us, and tells us also about Jesus and that wonderful hug that he wants to give us every single day. Now our Bible is split into two parts. At the top here we've what we call the Old Testament. These are all the books about God and the story of the Jewish people, going back thousands of years. And there's lots of exciting stories in there, so don't give it a miss. There's some really good stories in there. And then down here, we have what we call the New Testament. And this is everything from the birth of Jesus onwards. It tells us the stories of Jesus, tells us the stories of the early church. It tells us all sorts of great things about how we can live as Christian people in our world today. And the first four books of the New Testament, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, are really important because they tell us the stories of Jesus. They tell us what Jesus has done. Everything he said, everything he did are in those four books. So today's story was about Jesus. So I wonder which of these four books our story about Jesus has come in. Let's try starting with Matthew. Here's the Matthew box. And inside here, we've got a little stand. Oh, and we've got a little Jesus, baby Jesus. And our story started with baby Jesus. So he's in this box too, he's in the Matthew story box. I wonder what Mark's going to tell us. We open up the Mark story box. We've got an older Jesus. Jesus grew up to be a boy. And there's a story about Jesus getting lost in Jerusalem when he went with his mum and dad. So we've got an older Jesus. I wonder if he's in Luke as well. This could be interesting. There's Jesus in Luke as well. Jesus from that story. There's Jesus who grew up to be a man, who shared his life with those around us and shared everything he had. So Jesus as a man. Surely he can't be in John as well. That would be a real amazing thing, wouldn't it? But yes, he's in John as well. The risen Jesus who came back to life after he died on the cross, to be with his family and friends, and to be with us forever, because he's now in heaven. So Jesus is in all our story boxes, all our gospel story boxes, because each one of them tells us stories about Jesus, tells us who Jesus is and what he's like, and tells us of his love for him. So enjoy reading the stories of Jesus. We'll tell some to Message Church, but you can explore on your own, in your own Bibles, or through it on online Bibles. Enjoy the stories of Jesus. Get to know Jesus, because he's exciting and he loves us. And now it's time for a craft.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Message Church Craft. This is an idea you might like to try at home, and do send us in pictures of what you managed to make. We'd love to see them. For this craft, you need paper, pencils or pens, scissors, and if you want to colour them in, you'll need some sort of crayons or pens. We're going to be making concertina people to remind us of all our friends, wherever they are, whether we can see them or not, we're still friends and we can still hold on to that friendship. Whether our families across the world or close by, we can think of them and all join together. So, let's begin. Take a piece of paper, doesn't really matter what colour, fold it in half, long ways. And then cut it in half. Take one of the thin, long pieces, fold it in half, then in half again, then in half again. Now you open it out. So what we've got to do is make our paper folded like a concertina. So you take your paper, you fold along one of those folds. Now this is important. You turn it over before you make the next fold. Turn it over again and fold. Turn it over and fold, turn it over and fold, turn it over and fold, turn it over and fold. And this time, if you open it out, you've got a concertina, like a fan. Keep it folded up. Now you're going to draw your person. I'm going to try and do this upside down so that you can see what's happening. So we're going to start with the legs. And if you draw at the bottom a triangle, and then draw the leg. And it's important you draw right to the end. Now, if you come in too far, you'll have a very skinny person. So don't come in too far. Then you draw the body. Then you draw the arms. Again, important that you go right to the end, or they won't join together. Then you make your head. You've got a person looking like that. I've drawn it in pen so you can see it, but you can draw it in a pencil. Now we start to cut. So we start with the triangle and cut that out. And cut along the leg, up the body, along the arm, along the top of the arm, round the head, down the arm, up the arm, down the body, and down the leg. Fingers crossed. Has it worked? When you pull them apart, they're all joined together. And if you wanted, you could make one with a dress on, just by drawing a little dress, a little skirt above the legs. Or you could keep them like that, and it's up to you. If you want to colour them in, put faces on them, make them look like your friends, your family, that's up to you. So you have all your friends, all your family, reaching out to one another, remembering we're still there, even if we can't see each other, even if we can't give each other a hug. We're always there. See you next time for another craft.
And now it's time for our prayer, and you might want to join in with some actions. Dear Jesus, thank you for loving each one of us, whether we're big or whether we're small, if we're feeling happy or if we're feeling sad. Wherever I go, whatever I do, thank you, Jesus, for loving me. Amen.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this month's Message Church in a new way, video Message Church online. We're hoping to put one of these up every month with different stories, activities and prayers. So hopefully you'll join in. If you make any of the crafts that we've suggested, or make your own craft of the idea of Jesus hugging us and hugging the world, or some kind of expression of love, then please do send us a picture and we'll put it on our webpage in a gallery so everyone can see what everyone's done. So we hope you've enjoyed today, the story, the Bible bookcase, the craft. Hope you managed to join in with the song and the prayer, and we'll see you again next month. Bye for now.